This episode is brought to you by Triple Automation.
Right.
So imagine buying a piece of heavy machinery, right? You rent it hard for like 12 months,
Yeah.
and instead of depreciating in value, the machine basically comes back to you and says, hey, I actually figured out how to be 20% cheaper to run this year.
Which is wild.
It's completely wild. I mean, that breaks every single rule of traditional business accounting.
Yeah.
But that is exactly what we are looking at today.
It really is.
Because, when you sit down with a traditional business spreadsheet to calculate ROI, there's this expectation of like mathematical purity.
Right. You buy a machine, you subtract a worker's salary, and boom.
Exactly. There are your savings just neatly categorized in the black.
And, I mean, it is a very comforting way to view the world, especially for anyone who has to manage a capital expenditure budget.
Oh, absolutely.
We like columns. We like binary outcomes. But applying that 20th century accounting logic to modern collaborative robotics is, well, it's the absolute definition of missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
If you are only looking at who is getting paid, you are completely missing the actual operational revolution that's happening right on the floor.
And that really is the mission of our deep dive today. We've got a genuinely fascinating stack of recent literature to go through.
There's some really great stuff.
Yeah. We're pulling from a 2026 study in MBPI, which, for those who don't know, is a major peer-reviewed journal for engineering.
Right.
Plus, we have some really groundbreaking industry frameworks published by Cambridge University Press and Maastricht University over the last couple of years.
Yeah, the 2025 and 2026 papers.
Exactly. So the goal here is to prove to you, the listener, that the true value of automation goes far, far beyond just cutting payroll. We're going to reveal how it acts as a secret weapon for quality, for resilience, and for safety in modern businesses.
It forces a complete paradigm shift, honestly, in how we evaluate capital equipment. Like, we just have to move past that upfront price tag and start looking at compounding value.
Right. So whether you are currently evaluating your own company's workflows, or, I don't know, maybe you're prepping for a massive strategy meeting.
Always stressful.
Yeah, very. Or, honestly, if you are just insanely curious about how businesses manage to scale up without losing their human soul, this analysis is going to fundamentally change how you view automation.
Absolutely.
So let's start right where most SMEs start, which is the bottom line.
Right.
But instead of focusing on who is getting paid, let's shift the focus to what is getting wasted.
Well, historically, industrial robots were they were just these rigid, single-purpose machines. Right. You bolted them down behind a steel cage. They did one highly specific thing, and, well, that was it.
Yeah, they just did their one trick.
Exactly. But the integration of collaborative robotics, what the industry calls cobots, has undergone this massive transformation. They have evolved into highly, highly adaptive technologies.
Right.
And when companies partner with integration specialists like Triple Automation to deploy systems like the JAKA series, the very first thing they notice on the floor is not the labor savings.
Really?
No. The biggest immediate impact on their ROI is actually a drastic reduction in error rates.
Okay, let's unpack this because I was looking at the numbers in the literature, and they are kind of wild.
Yeah, they are.
According to that 2026 MDPI study, implementing these cobots can slash assembly times by up to 30%, which is huge.
Right.
But the part that really caught my eye is that simultaneously, they boost product quality by 15%.
Yes.
Faster and better. I mean, usually in manufacturing, those two things are a trade-off, right? How does that actually work mechanically?
So it really comes down to the biological limitations of the human body versus, the mechanical advantages of a modern servo motor.
Okay.
Human beings are incredible at creative problem solving. We're great at adjusting to chaos and at pattern recognition, but we are biologically terrible at doing the exact same physical motoring 10,000 times in a row.
Without messing up once.
Exactly, without a single microscopic deviation.
And that's just simply because of physical and cognitive fatigue.
Yeah, exactly. Fatigue leads to a loss of focus. And that loss of focus leads to these tiny micro errors in torque or placement, which eventually leads to costly defects.
Makes sense.
But a collaborative robot is designed with extraordinarily high precision and repeatability. Just to put it in perspective, a JAKA cobot maintains the exact same level of millimeter precision during the last 60 seconds of a 12-hour shift as it does during the very first minute.
Man, it's like having a master chef who who chops their 10,000th onion with the exact same perfect translucent thinness as their very first onion of the day.
That's a great way to look at it.
Right.
Okay.
Like they never get a cramp, their mind never wanders to what they're having for dinner. They just deliver geometric perfection every single time.
Yeah, and to build on that chef analogy, the financial impact isn't just that the onion gets chopped faster.
Oh,
The real ROI is what happens to the rest of the kitchen. If you reduce defect rates by 15%, you are eliminating a massive cascade of hidden costs. You save all the raw materials that would have been thrown out.
right.
You completely eliminate the reverse logistics of handling customer returns, and you save the immense amount of labor hours that were previously dedicated to having humans pick through and rework all those faulty products.
That is massive. But let me push back on this for a second.
Sure.
Because if these machines are so hyper-focused on repetitive speed and precision, doesn't that mean we lose the adaptability that humans bring to a changing production line?
That is the classic concern, yes.
Right, because if a product design changes overnight, which happens constantly in modern manufacturing,
Yeah.
aren't you just stuck with a highly precise robot flawlessly executing a task that you just no longer need?
Well, that concern is exactly what kept SMEs away from automation for decades, honestly.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
If you buy a traditional industrial robot, yes, you are stuck. But here is the critical mechanical difference with modern cobots. Traditional robots require extensive safety fencing. Cages, light curtains, dedicated floor space.
They look like they're in a maximum security prison on the factory floor.
They really do. They're completely isolated from the human workflow. And moving them requires a forklift and literally a week of reprogramming.
Wow.
But cobots, on the other hand, share workspaces with humans without any physical barriers at all. They are highly mobile.
Okay.
And according to the 2026 research from Cambridge University Press, this physical and operational flexibility is the cornerstone of what they call the Industry 5.0 paradigm.
Industry 5.0. Okay, wait, I know Industry 4.0 was all about the Internet of Things, right?
Mhm.
Like connectivity and big data.
Right, exactly. And Industry 5.0 is about bringing the human back into the physical loop.
Oh, interesting.
It's an environment where automation adapts to human workflows dynamically, rather than forcing human workers to adapt to the limitations of caged machines.
Here's where it gets really interesting, actually. Because the sources detail how triple automation utilizes plug-and-play tools to make this happen.
Yes.
They use things like OnRobot grippers to minimize task switching downtime. It seems to completely change the game for high-mix, low-volume production environments.
It does. Because in a high-mix, low-volume setting, a company might make a wide variety of products, but only, say, a few hundred of each, rather than millions of identical units.
Right, the market demands fluctuate daily.
Exactly. So in this environment, an SME can rapidly redeploy a cobot. Like in the morning, it could be equipped with a suction tool doing a really delicate pick-and-place task, like assembling circuit boards.
Okay.
Then after lunch, an operator just unclips that tool, snaps on a mechanical gripper, and literally rolls the cobot over to the packaging line to box up finished goods.
That's crazy. It's essentially like swapping out attachments on a Swiss Army knife.
Yes, exactly.
Rather than having to buy a specialized, 100-pound sledgehammer for every single individual task on the floor.
It is exactly like that. The easy reconfigurability means the capital equipment is constantly generating value instead of just sitting idle during long changeover periods.
Wait, let me stop you right there, though. Because even with a quick physical tool change, isn't there a massive bottleneck when it comes to reprogramming the software?
You'd think so, but no.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
changing a physical gripper might take 5 minutes, sure, but doesn't it take an engineer like 3 days to write the code for the new packaging task?
Not anymore, and that is a massive part of the Industry 5.0 shift. The user interfaces have evolved so much.
Okay.
With systems like the JAKA cobots, operators can use a technique called hand guiding.
Guiding.
Yeah, you literally grab the robotic arm, press a button, and physically move it through the desired waypoints of the new task yourself.
Really?
Seriously. The software's AI maps those spatial coordinates in real time and just generates the program visually on a tablet. You do not need to write a single line of traditional code.
That is incredible. So the human is physically teaching the machine just by doing the motion once.
Exactly.
But, okay, this brings up a logical next question for me. If these robots are out in the open, they're not in cages, they're rolling around and seamlessly switching tasks right next to human beings,
Yeah.
how does that physical proximity actually impact the workers walking around them? Because if a human bumps into a traditional industrial robot, That is a catastrophic injury.
Right.
So how are these new cobots safe without fences?
What's fascinating here is the underlying physics of the safety mechanisms. Collaborative robots are packed with force torque sensors in their joints,
Okay.
and they utilize capacitive proximity detection. So the machine is constantly reading the physical resistance of its environment.
Oh, wow.
If a human arm even lightly brushes against the cobot, the sensors detect the anomaly in torque and instantly halt the machine's movement, literally in a matter of milliseconds.
So it actually feels the unexpected resistance and freezes before it can exert any harmful force.
Precisely. And that physical safety unlocks what is, honestly, arguably the most undervalued component of ROI in this entire deep dive.
Which is?
Because these cobots can safely operate directly alongside humans, they are specifically utilized to take over the dirty, dull, and dangerous aspects of a job.
Yeah, when we say dangerous in this context, we aren't necessarily talking about handling explosives, right?
No, usually not. The Cambridge University Press research focuses heavily on non-ergonomic tasks.
Oh, I see.
We're talking about the slow, grinding dangers of manufacturing. Carrying heavy loads, bending down to a pallet 400 times a shift, or performing these repetitive, awkward twists.
Yeah, that destroys your back.
Exactly. These are the exact types of movements that lead to severe, long-term musculoskeletal injuries in human workers.
Ah, okay. So by letting a cobot handle those grueling, repetitive tasks, triple automation is essentially helping clients drastically reduce worker physical stress.
Yes, and we can translate that directly into hard financial metrics.
Let's hear it.
When you reduce musculoskeletal wear and tear, your workers' compensation premiums drop significantly.
Makes sense.
You also see vastly reduced turnover costs because people aren't quitting due to physical burnout or chronic back pain.
Right.
And of course, you spend significantly less money on temporary labor to cover for full-time employees who are out on injury-related absences.
So what does this all mean for the big picture? When you look at the totality of the research we have here, it reveals this complete narrative shift.
It really does.
We constantly hear this fearful, almost dystopian idea that automation simply takes jobs.
Right. That's the headline everyone reads.
Yeah. But looking at these sources, it actually sounds like automation is just taking the worst physical parts of a job. It's effectively upgrading the human's role from being a manual laborer to being a manager of automated systems.
It is a complete operational upgrade. And there is a secondary ROI benefit to this that is absolutely crucial for SMEs right now.
Which is?
Talent acquisition.
Oh.
The manufacturing sector is facing a massive labor shortage. Younger generations entering the workforce, they do not want to perform grueling, repetitive manual labor.
Can you blame them?
Not at all. But if you create a tech-forward, safer environment where their job is to program, optimize, and supervise an advanced piece of robotics.
That's a totally different pitch.
Exactly. That is highly appealing. It makes it so much easier to attract and retain high-skilled talent.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
You aren't just buying a robot. You're basically buying a workplace culture that appeals to modern talent.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've established that cobots bring a 15% boost in quality by eliminating fatigue, right?
Yep.
They offer incredible operational flexibility for resilience, and they make the workplace safer, which saves money on injuries and turnover.
All of the above.
But let's be real for a second. For an SME, the upfront capital expenditure to bring in this technology can still seem incredibly daunting.
Oh, it's a big check to write.
Yeah. So how does a business justify this long-term play? How do they know they aren't just buying a highly expensive machine that will be technologically obsolete in like 36 months?
The fear of obsolescence is very real in technology, obviously. But the landscape of industrial robotics has fundamentally changed to address it.
How so?
There's a 2025 paper from the ITM Web of Conferences that discusses emerging frameworks that are lowering the integration bottleneck.
Okay.
And they do this through cost-effective modularity. The hardware is designed to be a platform, not just a single-use tool.
And this ties into the specific philosophy detailed in the 2026 paper from Maastricht University, right?
Yes.
Which seems really central to how companies like Triple Automation operate. It's this concept of fitting robots to specific operational problems rather than forcing your business problems to fit into rigid robotic constraints.
Exactly. They call it a human-centric approach.
Right.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, a human-centric approach means the ROI is sustainable over the long haul because these are not static machines. They evolve.
Evolve how?
As artificial intelligence and machine learning continue to advance, the physical cobots that a company deploys today can actually be updated with new software capabilities tomorrow, entirely over the cloud.
It's exactly like buying a smartphone.
Yes.
The physical hardware, the screen, the battery, the casing that sits on your desk.
Yeah.
But overnight, a software update comes through, and suddenly your device has new features, a better camera algorithm, a smoother interface. You
Exactly.
didn't have to buy a whole new phone just to get a smarter device.
It is a really strong analogy, but in robotics, it goes even further because the software updates actually change the physical efficiency of the hardware.
Wait, really?
Yeah. The data backs this up dramatically. That 2026 MDPI study we discussed earlier, it shows that by simply adding reinforcement learning capabilities via a software update, a cobot can literally learn to optimize its own physical movements.
How so? Like, what does the software actually do to the physical arm?
So the AI runs thousands of virtual simulations to find the absolute path of least physical resistance for its motors when moving from point A to point B.
Oh, wow.
It smooths out the acceleration curves, it shaves off microseconds and microjoules of effort, and over a 12-hour shift, optimizing that physical path cuts the cobot's own energy use by up to 20%.
Wow. So it actually learns how to draw less power and put less wear and tear on its own joints while doing the exact same job.
Yes. Which brings us right back to your opening thought about the spreadsheet.
Right.
How do you even calculate depreciation when a machine appreciates in capability and efficiency over time?
You literally plug in a standard depreciation formula, and the machine comes back and says, actually, I'm 20% cheaper to run this year.
Yeah.
It completely breaks the model.
It completely forces a recalculation of long-term value. The modularity of the hardware combined with the adaptability of the AI software means you are investing in an evolving platform.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground here today, and it is clear that the business case for collaborative solutions is a highly multi-layered equation.
Very multi-layered.
If we were going to distill the key takeaways for you listening right now, it comes down to this. Yes, the baseline labor savings might be the thing that initially gets you to look at the brochure,
Yeah.
but the true, profound ROI is found at the intersection of a few much larger factors.
It is the 15% boost in product quality and the complete elimination of fatigue-based waste.
Yep.
It's the operational flexibility of Industry 5.0, where you can swap out an OnRobot gripper, use hand guiding to reprogram a task in minutes, and just move a JAKA cobot across the floor to meet fluctuating market demands.
Right. And it is the hidden financial windfall of creating a safer, highly resilient human workforce by offloading the dirty, dull, and dangerous tasks. You aren't just saving on workers' comp. You are actively upgrading human potential. So whether you are currently evaluating your own company's workflows or you're just trying to stay sharp on the technological trends shaping our economy, the real trick is looking past that initial price tag. You have to see the compounding value of a tech-forward environment.
Because the ROI isn't just a single number at the bottom of a column anymore. It is a measurement of the holistic health, quality, and agility of the entire enterprise.
It really is. So to wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over or maybe explore on your own.
Okay.
We started this whole conversation by talking about that mathematical binary spreadsheet, buying a tool to replace a cost.
Right.
But if these cobots are constantly learning, if they are dynamically adapting their movements to fit human workflows, and if they are eventually using AI to figure out how to cut their own energy consumption, at what point do we stop thinking of them as industrial tools entirely?
That's a great question.
At what point do we have to start treating them as actual colleagues? And if that is the manufacturing future we are moving into, what would your ideal robot colleague look like? Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.